Hello guys, this is Christopher from GizChina Germany here together with the Kingzone N3 Plus. The Kingzone N3 Plus actually is a remake of the original Kingzone N3, which originally came with a 32-bit MT6732 quad-core processor. Now it comes with a 64-bit Mediatek SoC, the MT6732, which also is a quad-core processor clocked at 1.5 GHz. The phone also comes with 2 GB of RAM and 16 GB of internal memory, a 13 megapixel rear camera, an 8 megapixel front shooter, a fingerprint sensor and an alleged 2800 mAh battery. NFC support unfortunately has been dropped and not even replaced with Mediatek's hotnod. So let's see if this phone is worth its 160 bucks. So let's first have a look at the packaging, and you immediately see that it does look very similar to the Kingzone N3, and upon closer inspection it actually becomes quite obvious that this box is the very same packaging as the original Kingzone N3. It even has the Kingzone N3's specs on the rear, and there just is a sticker glued over them with the 64-bit specs. So what do you get with the phone? You get the usual charger, one USB cable, one OTG adapter, the usual documentation stuff, and you also get headphones, a screen protector and a bumper for rear protection purposes. So quite a lot of stuff included here. Let's have a look at the design of the phone. So as you can immediately see, this handset does still look exactly the same like the original Kingzone N3. Nothing has been changed here. It's still a beautifully black device. It also is available in white color, by the way. We have small holes on the top and the bottom here. Here is the phone receiver, and on the bottom we have the voice microphone for phone calls. We also have a front camera here, the sensors of the phone. There also is a status LED which you can't see right now, and we also have the 4G LTE logo on top of there. And the control of the phone is done through those touch buttons, symbolized through dots, and they actually light up when you use them in red color, which does look really nice against the black glass. The sides contain a volume rocker on the left and the on-off switch on the right, and the upper and lower side contains this typical design element for the Kingzone N3 series, which tries to imitate carbon fiber. I don't know how well you can see that through the camera. And the upper design element also houses the 3.5mm headphone jack and the micro USB/OTG port. The rear is again made from a soft feeling matte rubber-like material, which feels really nice in my opinion, and houses the camera, the LED flash, the fingerprint reader and another Kingzone logo, as well as the opening for the speaker below there. The rear can of course be removed, so you can replace battery and stuff, and it also uncovers the normal sized SIM slot, one micro SIM card slot and a micro SD card slot. So that's about the insides. As you can see, the NFC antenna has been removed and also the contact, so the support for that is gone completely. So next let's have a closer look at the device itself, and that obviously means that we are gonna have a look at the screen. Now the original Kingzone N3 already had a pretty nice panel. It's coming from Sharp. It is a 5-inch panel operating at 720p resolution, and it also features IPS and OGS technology. Now 720p might not seem like a lot, but actually for 5 inches it's perfectly fine, and especially if they are using a brand panel, which is the case here. This means brightness is good, colors are good, contrast is good. This screen has a really nice image quality, and also the viewing angles are very good, as you can see here, and pixels are pretty much invisible with naked eye. You have to come really close to see them. Also the digitize is working very well. They advertise it to be Gorilla Glass free. I'm not sure about that, but it is scratch proof, that's what I can confirm. And it also features a really smooth surface. It feels really nice to swipe the finger across it. I really like that. What I don't like at all though is that Kingzone still didn't fix their quality check. The Kingzone N3 with 32-bit SoC already had some issues with faulty pixels on the screen, and the Kingzone N3 Plus still has those issues. Just look at the two in 2015 here on the date. You will see a dead pixel, and there also are 2 subpixels on other places on the screen that are faulty, that are not working. And that's happening very frequently with the Kingzone N3 and also the Kingzone N3 Plus. And I mean, that's not really acceptable these days, because faulty pixels got really rare, and well, in my opinion, Kingzone should do something about that as soon as possible. From the screen we are talking software and performance, and well, this one is running Android 4.4.4 KitKat, of course, as it is the case with most MT6732 based 64-bit handsets from China these days. Now, if you are used to Kingzone devices, you know that they deliver phones with almost a pure stock Android. They just replace the launcher and the lock screen with one of their own, but everything else is pure vanilla Android. There is no bloatware on it, and I really like that about Kingzone devices. Now the Kingzone N3 also does support off-screen gestures, as you can see here, and we also can control the notification light. What I don't like at all though is that Kingzone didn't implement unified storage, which means that the internal memory is parted into user memory and application memory, and this means that the number of applications you can install on this phone is limited. Nowadays most phones come with unified storage, so that's again not really acceptable, and Kingzone should change that as soon as possible. As for bugs, I didn't stumble upon many of them. The system is running very stable and smooth. Also the benchmark results are pretty okay for the phone, and applications are all running. Everything I tested was running. The only thing which didn't run was Dead Trigger 2, but that's something I'm used to by now, as that's the case with all those new 64-bit Mediatek chipsets running KitKat. With Lollipop this will change, as I'm currently able to test on the Ulefone B Pro, which I got a beta ROM for Lollipop for. So from software we are moving on to multimedia. And as you probably know, the Kingzone N3 came with a YAMAHA audio decoder or audio chipset, and this was promising a very good audio quality both for the headphone jack and the internal media speaker, but unfortunately that was not the case in the end, as the internal media speaker was from a really bad quality. It made it distorted and just sounded like crap. And also the headphone jack didn't perform quite well. Now luckily Kingzone seemed to have learned from this mistake, and the Kingzone N3 Plus again comes with this YAMAHA DAC. And actually this time the phone does sound pretty decent. The internal speaker is fairly loud, has a slight bass playback, doesn't distort even on full volume, which is definitely a pro. I'm not going to say it's a high-end sounding device, but for the price level of 160 bucks it definitely sounds above average, and I really like the audio quality of the internal speaker. And listening to music through the headphone jack also is a real pleasure, as this phone does sound very balanced. No background noises or anything. It's just sounding like I love it like I like it to be. And well, I'm pretty sure that audiophile people will love this handset for this. So how does this phone perform in terms of reception quality? And I have to say that I was pretty surprised because the reception quality definitely was above average, even though it doesn't use LDS antennas, and that does apply to 2G, 3G and 4G LTE reception, as well as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I didn't have any issues here at all. As you can see, I have almost full 3G reception in this room right now, which is really something only very few phones manage to do. So that's a real pro of the Kingzone N3. It has a downside though, and that's what I'm going to show you now. And that's the GPS reception quality. First of all, the very first fix took me ages. It took about 20 minutes to get the first fix, and these days, where most phones perform outstanding with GPS already, this isn't acceptable at all. And as you can see, the signal strength of the satellites also isn't all that high, which results in the phone only getting about 14 satellites to fix and an accuracy of about 3 meters and never more. Well, that's still okay for basic navigation, but if you are in some area where the GPS reception is kind of limited, you will quickly run into issues here. And so if you really need a great performing GPS, you should stay away from the Kingzone N3 Plus. So what about camera? If you remember about the Kingzone N3 with 32-bit SoC, you will remember that the camera in this one didn't perform all that well, and unfortunately that didn't change with the Kingzone N3 Plus. Pictures get blurred, the camera has massive issues with direct sunlight, it's generating fractals, and sun is looking blue for some reason. That's some really odd bug in there. And well, the sharpness of the pictures isn't all that good. It generates a lot of noise in dark environments. The LED flash creates a reddish tint in pictures. So all in all, the camera is not really usable. And if you really need a good camera inside your phone, you should also stay away from the Kingzone N3 Plus. Now, something that was really disturbing to me is the battery of the Kingzone N3 Plus. If you remember about the Kingzone N3, Kingzone back then already advertised the handset to feature a 2800 mAh battery, and back then I said I doubt that's true because the battery seemed too small for that, and also the battery life wasn't good enough for a alleged 2800 mAh cell. Now this time they are again advertising it to be 2800 mAh cell, and the size still didn't change of the cell. The difference this time is that I was able to measure the real capacity of the battery, and it came out to be the case that this battery only features a capacity of 1800 milliamps, so that's 1000 milliamps less than advertised. And well, that's kind of criminal in my opinion, because they try to gain an advantage over their competitors by claiming something that's simply not true. And that's really not acceptable, and also results in a very bad battery life. You really have to cut down on your usage. You can't play games on this handset, you have to cut down on screen brightness, you can't use much GPS, else you won't get over the day with one charge. You really have to do massive energy saving to get over the day with one battery charge, and that's really not acceptable these days, where most Chinese phones reach battery lives of up to 2 days, even if you use them pretty heavy. So that really sucks, and I don't like that at all. And Kingzone really should make up their mind and finally either use a larger cell or just tell the truth about the battery. So what's my final conclusion about the Kingzone N3 Plus? Well, basically it could be a very good phone because the build quality is okay, the design looks good, the screen is good, the performance is good, and you also have a pretty good reception quality. But those annoying bugs, a bad camera quality, the lies regarding the battery capacity, and also the bad GPS are something that aren't really acceptable, especially not at the price level of 160 bucks. Also, the fact that Kingzone is willingly lying. They are telling lies the second time, and let me tell you, they are also telling lies with the Kingzone Z1. This one doesn't feature a 3500 milliamps battery. Let me say that right now. Brings me to the conclusion that people probably shouldn't buy Kingzone devices because Kingzone doesn't seem to learn from their mistakes they made previously. So if people aren't gonna buy their phones, they probably will start to learn. That might be the only way for them to change something. So I say don't buy the Kingzone N3 because it's a little pack of lies and bugs, and there definitely are much better phones out there, especially at $160. Just look at the Mediatek MT6732 Red Note, which even offers a MT6732 SoC for pretty much the same price tag. So in the end, you have to decide it. I told you what I think and what bugs this phone have. So I hope this review was helpful for you and you enjoyed it. If you did, don't hesitate to leave a thumbs up or maybe even subscribe to the channel. If there are any questions left, feel free to drop a comment below the video. If you like in general what we are doing at GizChina Germany, make sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Google+. Thanks for watching. You will now receive a performance demo of this phone. Enjoy. I say bye, over and out.